welcome to Loosely Based on a True Story.
Or not necessarily the Weekend Update.
Your every so often roundup of what almost happened in the world. I'm Frank Bua.
And I'm Matthew Swern.
And here's today's top stories. Today, Starbucks introduced its latest drink, the Venti White Mocha, which immediately brought a protest from the Reverend Al Sharpton.
And Paula Deen exercised her Starbucks stock options. It's all starting to make sense now.
I'll tell you, for a woman without a job, she's certainly keeping herself mighty busy.
Simply unstoppable.
In political news, an unusual matchup is leaving even veteran DC insiders speechless.
I knew Marcus Bachmann was gay.
No, not officially, at least not yet. But Verizon and the NSA have teamed up on a public service announcement. It is simply this. Yes, we can hear you now.
Well, we are living in a post-Snowden world, and I am a post-Snowden...
Girl just got out of rehab. Lindsay Lohan is back, and she is better than ever.
As long as she avoids the Chateau Marmont.
And heroin. Don't forget the heroin.
Who could forget heroin? I hear she and Amanda Bynes just completed a duet. Dumbass Ho.
Actually, it's called Domahole. It's a pro-LGBT anthem.
I like Dumbass Ho better.
Of course.
Speaking of which, Rihanna is finally done with Chris Brown.
But Chris Brown is not done with Rihanna. A judge this week just ordered an additional 1,000 hours of community service for his damage to the Barbados beauty.
A fraction of what it should be.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, if he wants to perform real community service, he'll just leave the entertainment industry right now. Or perhaps share a room with Paula Deen.
Indeed.
Wait a second. This just in? We have breaking news. Justin Bieber just urinated in a toilet.
I think Anne Frank would be a proud believer right now.
You know, perhaps it's time that we stop paying attention to the Mexican border and start looking at the Canadian border and lock it up there. Think about it. Celine Dion, Bryan Adams,
Mike Myers, Avril Lavigne. You know, Frank, I think you're onto something.
And they said nightly news was a dying medium.
Speaking of which, 60 Minutes has a hot story that makes A-Rod look worse than he already did.
Unless he's walking around naked with his man breasts, I can't imagine what that story is.
No, this story requires the requisite team of lawyers and A-Rod denials.
But there ain't no denying those moves.
Allegedly, in an effort to make himself appear less guilty, A-Rod leaked biogenesis documents that helped implicate Ryan Braun.
As if Braun needed the assist?
Seriously.
These people went to the Lance Armstrong School of Public Relations. Deny, threaten lawsuit, and repeat if necessary.
Really, it's time MLB to derail the A-Rod Express once and for all. Put him out to pasture and someone can milk him.
Now, that would be a story.
But there's no bigger story today than Russian President Vladimir Putin, who has declared a Cold War on the LGBT community, with a prohibition of any type of gay expression during the Olympics.
There goes the opening ceremonies.
And ice dancing.
You know, Putin is starting to remind me of that Shakespearean expression, thou who protesteth too much.
Next thing you know, Vladimir will convert to Scientology.
We may need to clear that with our attorneys.
Satire is a large legal umbrella that we like to hide under.
Speaking of hiding under an umbrella, Pope Francis surprised the world with his candid, "Who am I to judge?" about gay priest remark on a plane on the way home from his first foreign trip. Although critics contend that defending men who wear dresses that don't sleep with women is pretty much a no-brainer.
And a big atheist amen to that.
In a serious test of the principle of suspension of disbelief, Forbes this week shocked the entertainment industry by releasing documents that stated Pauly D of Jersey Shore infamy made $13 million last year as a DJ.
$13 million. Or as I like to say, $12.6 million more than Barack Obama makes.
Fairness to Pauly D, at least he can get something through the house.
I wouldn't count chlamydia as an accomplishment.
In the Art Imitating Life department...
I didn't know we had an Art Imitating Life department.
Of course you don't. Any one of Billboard's current top 5 songs could also double as an upcoming name for the biography by Anthony Weiner.
Or the epitaph on his tombstone.
True that. Listen to these titles. Blurred Lines, Get Lucky, Radioactive, We Can't Stop, and my personal favorite, Twitter Twatter.
I'm not familiar with that last one.
Perhaps you should be. It is going viral.
It all comes back to chlamydia.
Speaking of viral, have you taken a look at that epic new coming out of the closet video with that 13-year-old boy?
You mean the coming of age video? Yeah, the bar mitzvah kid.
That's a bar mitzvah? I just assumed that kid was gay.
Well, he was dancing to J-Lo, and he did have the moves like Jagger.
Actually, I thought I was watching the HBO Liberace sequel, Behind the Menorah.
It was like a bad Siegfried and Roy retrospective.
In this week's most ironic story, Oprah Winfrey's network is finally in the black.
Oh! But she is seeing red after a store clerk refused to show her a $40,000 bag for fear that she couldn't afford it.
$2 billion, and that woman can't catch a break.
Girl doesn't need a $40,000 bag. That clerk was doing her a favor.
Anybody got time for that?
Brought to you by Sweet Brown. In other news, the Republican Party continued its rebranding efforts by formally changing its name to the Jurassic Party.
Cue John Williams. Yeah, I actually thought they would have gone with something a little bit more obvious, like the Bigot Party.
If the Docksiders fit.
In other political news, President Obama stated this week that he's going to break with tradition and pardon Mitch McConnell this Thanksgiving.
Now, if only Kentucky voters would do the same.
Speaking of buyer's remorse, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie is making headlines yet again as he now suddenly supports medical marijuana for ill children.
He should consider supporting it for those who supported him. The doctors clearly stapled the wrong part of his body shut.
Can't disagree with you on that one. In redundant entertainment news, Broadway just got gayer.
I know! Clay Aiken is set to star in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and NPH will star in the Hedwig Revival.
You know, it may be time to invite our friend Vladimir Putin over for the Tony Awards. A little cultural exchange, if you will.
Ooh, a little vodka and caviar. In other entertainment news, Twitter's main man, Ashton Kutcher, has set the YouTuberverse on fire with a shockingly mature speech at the Teen Choice Awards.
You know, there's something to me very emotional and touching about an overpaid actor reaching out and getting back in touch with his inner waiter. Can you just see him? Would you like fries with that?
About as heartfelt as an Anthony Weiner apology.
Former President George Bush solved a great mystery this week when he had stents put in his heart.
In other news, George Bush actually does have a heart.
Katy Perry is back with a roar as she released the first single of her upcoming album, Prism. When asked what the song was about, Miss Perry looked at the camera, smiled, and touched her breasts.
Ooh, John Mayer has plenty to roar about there.
Yes, he does.
And Lady Gaga is making headlines for something other than her expanding waistline and recovering hip.
You know, apparently hackers released her new song, Menopause, 3 weeks before it was supposed to be out. She is so upset that she is having a pop culture emergency with her 37 million Twitter fans.
Frank, I think the song is called Applause.
There's not a chance it's called Applause. Look at her. She's falling apart. Her career is over. It's menopause.
In other Gaga news, the lady finds herself embroiled with another female icon, not named Madonna. Cher is apparently livid that she recorded a duet with Gaga 3 years ago that has yet to be released.
If I could turn back...
Time out. We got a news story that we have to do.
Okay. I just think this controversy perhaps is just another way for Gaga to start selling her new album, Art Pop, available on iTunes coming soon.
There is no such thing as bad publicity.
I'm going to challenge that. Simon Cowell is expecting his first child, but nobody was expecting it with his best friend's wife.
Hopefully, Cowell can take care of that kid better than he did Paula Abdul.
Speaking of American Idol, Jennifer Lopez surprised the entertainment industry by coming back for season 13 this year, proving that age-old adage that bad things happen in threes.
Okay.
Finally, Miley Cyrus claims that she was totally like Little Kim in a previous life.
And I'm getting word that she's actually white trash in this life.
That's all the time we have today. From our fake studio to your overmortgaged home. Good night, good luck, and God help us all.